What if I told you that the most powerful force in your life is not money, not talent, not luck, but a single thought in your mind? Every day, two people face the same problem. One gives up, the other rises. The difference is not strength, it is mindset. Today, I want to share with you a true story and a message so powerful that it has changed millions of lives, the power of positive thinking. Thoughts are not just silent words inside our minds. They are powerful forces that shape the direction of our lives. Every action we take begins as a thought. Before a person speaks, moves, decides, or reacts, the mind has already created a picture of what is possible or impossible. This is why it is often said that we do not live according to our circumstances, we live according to our thinking. From the moment we wake up in the morning, our thoughts begin to influence our day. If a person wakes up thinking, "Today is going to be terrible," they unknowingly prepare their mind to notice only problems, mistakes, and disappointments. Small challenges feel heavy, and minor setbacks feel like major failures. On the other hand, when a person starts the day thinking, "No matter what happens, I will handle it," the same challenges are faced with calm, patience, and confidence. The situation may be the same, but the experience becomes completely different. This proves that reality is not only what happens to us, but how we interpret it through our thoughts. Psychology and neuroscience also support this idea. The human brain works like a filter. It focuses on what it is trained to look for. When you constantly think negative thoughts such as "I am not good enough," "I will fail," or "nothing ever works for me," your brain begins to accept these thoughts as facts. As a result, you may avoid opportunities, fear challenges, and give up easily. Not because you are incapable, but because your mind has already decided the outcome. Over time, these thoughts turn into beliefs, and beliefs quietly control behavior. This is how negative thinking creates a negative reality. Positive thinking works in the opposite way. When a person repeatedly thinks, "I can improve," "I can learn," or "I may fail, but I will try again," the brain becomes open to growth. The mind starts searching for solutions instead of excuses. Confidence grows, effort increases, and persistence becomes natural. Even when failure occurs, it is seen as a lesson rather than a final defeat. This shift in thinking slowly but surely changes the results a person experiences in life. It is important to understand that positive thinking does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. Life includes pain, loss, and hardship for everyone. The difference lies in how people respond to these experiences. A negative thinker asks, "Why does this always happen to me?" A positive thinker asks, "What can this teach me?" This small difference in thought leads to a massive difference in outcome. One question creates helplessness, the other creates strength. Many successful people were not born with perfect lives or unlimited resources. What separated them from others was their thinking. They believed in possibilities when others focused on limitations. They saw failure as temporary, not permanent. Because of this mindset, they took actions that others avoided. Their thoughts pushed them forward when circumstances tried to pull them back. Over time, these repeated positive thoughts shaped habits, and those habits shaped success. Our thoughts also influence our emotions. When the mind is filled with fear, doubt, and negativity, the body responds with stress, anxiety, and exhaustion. But when the mind focuses on hope, gratitude, and belief, the body feels more energized and motivated. This emotional state affects how we speak to others, how we perform at work or school, and how we face difficulties. In this way, thoughts silently shape not only our internal world, but also our external relationships and opportunities. Another powerful truth is that the mind does not clearly distinguish between real experiences and strongly imagined ones. When you constantly imagine failure, rejection, or embarrassment, your brain reacts as if those events have already happened. This creates fear and hesitation. But when you imagine success, progress, and confidence, your brain begins to prepare you for those outcomes. This is why athletes, leaders, and performers use visualization. It trains the mind to believe in success before it happens. Changing thought patterns is not easy, especially if negative thinking has become a habit over many years. However, it is possible. It begins with awareness. When you notice a negative thought, you question it instead of accepting it. You replace "I can't" with "I will try." You replace "I always fail" with "I am learning." These small changes may seem insignificant, but repeated daily, they reprogram the mind. Over time, the inner voice becomes supportive instead of destructive. Thoughts shape reality because they shape decisions. Decisions shape actions. Actions shape habits, and habits shape destiny. This chain begins with a single thought. When you change that thought, you begin to change everything that follows. This is why mastering your thinking is one of the most important skills a person can develop. Your life today is largely the result of the thoughts you believed yesterday, and your life tomorrow will be shaped by the thoughts you choose today. Resilience is the ability to stand back up after life knocks you down. It is the inner strength that allows a person to face hardship, endure pressure, and continue moving forward despite pain, failure, or disappointment. While some people believe resilience is something you are born with, the truth is that resilience is largely built through thinking patterns. Positive thinking is one of the strongest foundations of resilience because it determines how a person responds when life becomes difficult. Everyone experiences failure. Everyone faces rejection, loss, and moments of deep uncertainty. The difference between those who break under pressure and those who rise stronger is not the absence of problems, but the presence of a positive mindset. When a person thinks positively, they do not see difficulties as proof of weakness. Instead, they see them as part of growth. This mindset allows them to absorb the shock of failure without losing belief in themselves. A negative thinker often interprets failure as a final judgment. One mistake becomes "I am a failure." One rejection becomes "I am not worthy." Over time, this thinking weakens resilience. The person becomes afraid to try again, avoids challenges, and slowly loses confidence. Each setback feels heavier than the last because the mind has convinced itself that recovery is impossible. Positive thinking interrupts this destructive cycle. A positive thinker views failure as temporary and specific, not permanent and personal. Instead of saying "I failed," they say "this attempt failed." Instead of thinking "nothing ever works for me," they think "this didn't work, but something else might." This shift may seem small, but it keeps the mind open and flexible. And flexibility is the core of resilience. Resilient people do not deny pain. They feel disappointment, frustration, and sadness just like anyone else. But positive thinking prevents them from getting trapped in those emotions. It reminds them that pain does not last forever and that difficult moments do not define their entire life. This belief gives them the emotional strength to endure hard times without losing hope. Positive thinking also changes how people talk to themselves during struggles. In moments of difficulty, the inner voice becomes extremely powerful. A negative inner voice says, "You can't handle this. You are weak. Give up." A positive inner voice says, "This is hard, but you are strong. You've survived worse. Keep going." This internal dialogue directly affects resilience. When the mind becomes supportive rather than critical, endurance increases. Another important aspect of resilience is problem solving. When faced with challenges, a negative mindset focuses on what is wrong and who is to blame. This leads to frustration and emotional paralysis. Positive thinking shifts focus toward solutions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a resilient thinker asks, "What can I do next?" This focused thinking keeps momentum alive even in difficult circumstances. Positive thinking also strengthens resilience by encouraging patience. Many people give up not because success is impossible, but because it takes longer than expected. A positive mindset understands that growth is gradual. It accepts delays without losing belief. This patience allows people to stay consistent, even when results are slow. Over time, consistency becomes strength, and strength becomes resilience. Stress is another area where positive thinking plays a crucial role. High stress weakens resilience by exhausting the mind and body. Negative thinking increases stress by magnifying problems and imagining worst-case scenarios. Positive thinking reduces stress by creating emotional balance. When the mind believes that challenges are manageable, the body remains calmer. This calm state allows clearer thinking, better decisions, and stronger emotional control during pressure. Resilience is also built through meaning. People who think positively often search for meaning in hardship. They ask what the struggle is teaching them, how it is shaping their character, or how it might prepare them for the future. This sense of purpose transforms suffering into strength. Pain without meaning breaks people. Pain with meaning builds them. Over time, repeated positive thinking rewires how the brain responds to adversity. The mind becomes trained to recover faster after setbacks. Instead of staying stuck in disappointment, it learns to bounce back. Each challenge faced with a positive mindset becomes evidence of inner strength. This creates confidence, and confidence further strengthens resilience. Positive thinking does not eliminate obstacles, but it changes how deeply they affect you. It turns breakdowns into breakthroughs and setbacks into stepping stones. With every challenge survived, resilience grows stronger, making future difficulties easier to handle. The human mind is one of the most powerful tools ever created. Yet many people live their entire lives without fully realizing or using its potential. Everything you experience in life, success, failure, confidence, fear, growth, or stagnation, passes first through your mind. This is why it can either become your greatest strength or your greatest limitation. The difference lies in how you use it. Your mind controls your thoughts, and your thoughts influence your actions. When the mind is unmanaged, it often becomes filled with doubt, fear, and negative assumptions. These thoughts may not be true, but the mind treats them as reality. Over time, this leads to hesitation, self-sabotage, and missed opportunities. People often believe external factors hold them back, when in reality, it is their own uncontrolled thinking that limits them. When used correctly, the mind becomes a powerful engine for growth and achievement. It allows you to imagine possibilities beyond your current situation. Before any invention, discovery, or success existed in the physical world, it first existed in someone's mind as an idea. This shows that progress always begins internally before it appears externally. The same principle applies to personal growth. You must first believe in change before you can create it. One of the most important functions of the mind is focus. Whatever you focus on grows stronger. If the mind constantly focuses on problems, fear increases. If it focuses on solutions, confidence increases. Many people unknowingly train their minds to focus on what they lack, what went wrong, or what might fail. As a result, their energy is drained and their motivation weakens. A trained mind, however, chooses where to place attention. It learns to focus on effort, progress, and improvement rather than perfection. The mind also plays a critical role in decision-making. Every decision, whether big or small, is influenced by internal thoughts and beliefs. A mind filled with fear makes decisions based on safety and avoidance. A mind filled with belief makes decisions based on growth and opportunity. This does not mean ignoring risks, but it means not allowing fear to be the final decision maker. When the mind is strengthened through positive thinking, decisions become more confident and intentional. Another powerful aspect of the mind is imagination. Imagination allows you to see beyond current limitations. It helps you picture success before it happens. However, imagination can work against you if it is used negatively. Many people imagine failure, embarrassment, or rejection in great detail. Their mind rehearses defeat before they even try. This mental rehearsal weakens confidence and increases anxiety. When imagination is guided positively, it becomes a tool for preparation and success rather than fear. The mind is also responsible for habits. Repeated thoughts create repeated actions, and repeated actions form habits. Over time, habits shape character and lifestyle. If the mind repeatedly tells you, "I am lazy," you begin to act lazily. If it repeatedly tells you, "I am capable," your actions start reflecting effort and discipline. This is why controlling internal dialogue is essential. The words you speak to yourself daily matter more than the words spoken by others. Many people underestimate how much influence their mind has over their emotions. Fear, anger, stress, and confidence are not created by events themselves, but by how the mind interprets those events. Two people can face the same situation and feel completely different emotions because their minds interpret it differently. When you learn to manage your thoughts, you gain greater control over your emotional responses. This emotional control strengthens mental stability and inner peace. Training the mind takes effort and consistency. Just like a muscle, it becomes stronger with use and weaker with neglect. Reading, learning, reflection, and positive self-talk are ways to strengthen the mind. Challenging negative thoughts instead of accepting them blindly is another powerful practice. When the mind is trained to question fear and replace it with logic and belief, it becomes more resilient and focused. A strong mind does not mean a mind without doubt. Doubt is natural. Strength comes from not allowing doubt to control actions. When the mind is recognized as a tool rather than an enemy, it can be directed instead of feared. You begin to use it intentionally rather than reactively. Ultimately, the quality of your life is closely connected to the quality of your thinking. When the mind is guided with positivity, discipline, and awareness, it becomes the most valuable asset you possess. It shapes how you face challenges, how you pursue goals, and how you define your own worth. Challenges are an unavoidable part of life. No matter how carefully a person plans, difficulties will appear in different forms: failure, loss, rejection, disappointment, or unexpected change. While most people naturally view challenges as obstacles meant to stop them, positive thinking allows a person to see challenges from a completely different perspective. Instead of viewing them as roadblocks, a positive mindset recognizes challenges as opportunities for growth, learning, and transformation. The way a person interprets a challenge determines its impact. When challenges are seen as threats, fear takes control. The mind becomes defensive, stress increases, and the desire to escape or give up grows stronger. But when challenges are seen as opportunities, the mind becomes curious rather than fearful. Instead of asking, "How do I avoid this?" the person asks, "What can I gain from this?" This shift in thinking changes the emotional response and opens the door to progress. Every challenge forces a person to step out of their comfort zone. Growth does not happen in comfort, it happens in discomfort. When life is easy, there is little reason to develop new skills, strengthen character, or discover hidden abilities. Challenges push people to adapt, learn, and evolve. Without difficulty, potential remains dormant. It is often during the hardest moments that people discover how strong, creative, and capable they truly are. Positive thinking helps individuals look beyond the immediate pain of a challenge and focus on its long-term benefits. While challenges can be uncomfortable and even painful, they often carry valuable lessons. Failure teaches resilience, rejection teaches self-worth, struggle teaches patience. When a person adopts a positive mindset, they begin to ask what the challenge is teaching them instead of focusing only on how difficult it feels. This lesson-focused thinking turns hardship into wisdom. Many of the skills people value most, discipline, confidence, patience, leadership, are not developed during easy times. They are built during moments of struggle. A challenge acts like a training ground for the mind and character. Each difficulty faced with a positive mindset strengthens emotional endurance and mental toughness. Over time, what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable, and confidence grows from the knowledge that challenges can be overcome. Positive thinking also prevents challenges from damaging self-belief. A negative mindset often interprets difficulty as proof of inadequacy. One failure becomes "I am not good enough." One obstacle becomes "I will never succeed." This thinking turns challenges into emotional burdens that crush motivation. Positive thinking separates the challenge from personal identity. The problem becomes something external to solve, not a reflection of personal worth. Another important aspect of seeing challenges as opportunities is problem solving. Challenges demand solutions. A positive thinker views problems as puzzles to be solved rather than disasters to fear. This approach keeps the mind active and engaged. Instead of feeling helpless, the individual begins exploring options, strategies, and alternatives. This mindset not only helps overcome the current challenge, but also builds problem-solving skills that are useful in future situations. Challenges also reveal priorities. When life becomes difficult, it forces people to evaluate what truly matters. Distractions lose importance, and focus becomes sharper. A positive mindset uses this clarity to make better decisions. It allows a person to let go of what is unnecessary and invest energy in what truly supports growth and well-being. In this way, challenges refine direction and purpose. Many people later realize that their greatest successes came from their hardest moments. What once felt like a setback becomes a turning point. Challenges often redirect people toward better paths they would not have chosen otherwise. A closed door forces the search for a new one, sometimes leading to better opportunities than originally imagined. Positive thinking allows individuals to trust that even when things go wrong, they may be moving in the right direction. Seeing challenges as opportunities also builds gratitude. When a person reflects on past struggles they have overcome, they develop appreciation for their strength and progress. This gratitude reinforces positive thinking and creates confidence in facing future challenges. The memory of survival becomes proof that hardship is temporary and growth is possible. Challenges do not disappear with positive thinking, but their power to defeat you does. When faced with the right mindset, difficulties become teachers instead of enemies. They shape character, strengthen resolve, and prepare individuals for greater responsibilities and achievements. In the end, the power of positive thinking is not a theory. It is a choice you make every single day. Your thoughts decide whether you move forward or remain stuck, whether challenges break you or build you, and whether your mind becomes your prison or your freedom. Life will test you, disappoint you, and sometimes knock you down, but positive thinking gives you the strength to rise again with belief instead of fear. Remember, you may not control every situation, but you always control how you think about it. When you choose positive thoughts, you choose growth over defeat, hope over doubt, and action over fear. One change in thinking can create a chain reaction that transforms your habits, your attitude, and ultimately your life. So today, make a simple but powerful decision. Guard your thoughts, believe in yourself, and face life with a positive mindset. Because when you change the way you think, you truly change the way you live.